India, recognized as the world's largest democratic country, has often been highlighted by Western media. As early as 1985, the Wall Street Journal bestowed its highest praise upon India's then-new Prime Minister, Rajiv Gandhi. Shortly thereafter, a New York Times article wrote, "Far more than China today, India is an economic miracle waiting to happen." In the early 1980s, both China and India shared nearly identical per capita incomes, and both nations initiated economic reforms. Fast forward 4 decades, China has ascended to become the world's second-largest economy, while India still trails behind. Presently, China's GDP exceeds $17 trillion, while India's is at $3 trillion, roughly 6 times smaller than China's. The question arises is, what has led to India's current position, and what factors contribute to its persistent lag behind China? In this video, we will explore precisely that. We will delve into the core reasons that have restrained India's growth on the global stage and examine how China strategically elevated its position above India. Before we proceed, we invite you to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on more insightful videos like this one. The role of caste in the Indian economy. Over the last 2 decades, India has rapidly emerged as one of the fastest-growing global economic powers, experiencing sustained GDP growth at an average annual rate of around 7%. This period has also witnessed a significant reduction in poverty rates, with 271 million people lifted above the poverty line. Despite these achievements, when comparing to China, India's performance in raising living standards appears less impressive. The primary factor contributing to this disparity is the presence of India's caste system. The caste system is a key aspect of Indian society. It divides the population into 4 main classes called Varnas, and there's also a group called untouchables who aren't part of this system. Each Varna and the untouchables consist of many castes known as jatis. In Hindu society, a crucial rule is that people should marry within their own caste. Recent genetic studies suggest that this rule has been followed for more than 2,000 years. The villages are often spatially segregated based on caste, leading to strong social connections within each community. Even after 70 years of independence, this unique social structure persists. How did the caste system impact India's economy? One immediate concern is that the hierarchical nature of the caste system, marked by exploitation, prejudice, and discrimination, likely hindered upward mobility for those in lower castes. Historically, the lower castes were often confined to unskilled, low-paying jobs within the traditional economy for many centuries. National Geographic reports that over 160 million people in India are categorized as untouchable, facing societal stigma due to their birth in a caste system that deems them impure and inferior. Caste networks play a significant role in influencing economic mobility within the Indian economy. As long as the caste system persists, it becomes challenging for the Indian government to elevate its economy to the level of China's. China invested in human capital. Another reason India lags behind China is its human capital. China has made impressive investments in its people, surpassing India in elevating education and health standards to levels essential for fostering an internationally competitive workforce. The World Bank's 2020 Human Capital Index, which gauges countries' education and health outcomes on a scale of 0 to 1, assigned India a score of 0.49, lower than both Nepal and Kenya, despite being less economically affluent. In contrast, China achieved a score of 0.65, akin to much wealthier nations like Chile and Slovakia, on a per capita basis. If we assume that both economies were equally productive in 1953, When they initiated their modernization efforts, China managed to become more than 50% more productive by the late 1980s. Presently, China's productivity is nearly twice that of India. While 45% of Indian workers remain in the relatively unproductive agriculture sector, China has progressed beyond simple, labor-intensive manufacturing and emerged as a dominant force, particularly in global car markets, including electric vehicles. According to the latest study and statistics, China is notably well-positioned for future opportunities. Presently, 7 Chinese universities secure places in the world's top 100, with both Tsinghua and Peking University ranking within the top 20. Tsinghua holds the distinction of being recognized as the world's foremost university for computer science, securing the top position, while Peking University is placed 9th overall. Additionally, in the field of mathematics, 9 Chinese universities feature prominently within the global top 50. In contrast, the latest data reveals that no Indian university, including the renowned Indian Institutes of Technology, currently claims a spot among the world's top 100. The gender disparity in India versus China. Based on data from the International Labour Organization in 2020, the participation of adult females in the labor force, aged 15 to 64, is nearly 60% in China, surpassing the United States at 56% and significantly higher than India's meager 20%. According to World Bank statistics from 2018, female literacy in India stood at 66%, trailing behind men by 16 percentage points. Approximately 186 million Indian women still lack the ability to read and write a basic sentence in any language. This stands in stark contrast to China, where over 95% of women are literate. In terms of maternal mortality ratios, a key indicator of female well-being, India significantly lags behind China. The period from 2016 to 2018 saw 113 maternal deaths per 100,000 births in India, compared to China's 18 per 100,000. The cumulative effect of ingrained gender biases denies women opportunities for education and self-realization, gradually eroding their sense of self-worth. This not only exacts an emotional toll, but also carries a substantial economic cost. A study by the United Nations Global Compact revealed that if Indian women participated in the labor force at a rate equal to men, the country's GDP could see a 27% boost. Valuing women from the outset increases the likelihood of their birth, reducing the incidence of abortion. Educated and healthier women are more probable, contributing to the well-being of their families and ultimately the prosperity of the economy. Therefore, investing in and enhancing outcomes for women may be more critical for a country's prospects than developing impressive infrastructure or reducing tariff barriers. Despite India's noteworthy political and economic achievements, the persistent gender gap positions the country behind China and suggests it will continue to do so in the foreseeable future. China's upper hand, compared to India, a sizable middle-class population. China has an advantage over India because of its large middle class. Despite India having more people, it hasn't significantly increased its middle-income population. In an ideal situation, a growing young and educated workforce is crucial for a strong economy. An expanding middle class is also attractive for global trade and investment. India, with 2/3 of its population under 35, should have this advantage for at least a decade after China's population decline begins. However, for India to benefit from this advantage, certain conditions must be met. One of these unfulfilled conditions is the lack of proper education and healthcare infrastructure to develop a skilled workforce that can capitalize on the demographic dividend. According to Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin, Having an educated workforce is key. Wang stated, when assessing a country's demographic dividend, we need to look at not just its size, but also its quality. Size matters, but what matters more is talent resources. Nearly 900 million of the 1.4 billion Chinese are of working age and on average have received 10.9 years of education. China has successfully built a significantly larger educated and healthy workforce compared to India, which is evident in the vast size of China's middle class compared to India's. According to a Pew survey from the United States, the middle and upper middle income population in China reached almost 800 million in 2021. In stark contrast, India's middle and upper middle income population is only 121 million, highlighting a considerable disparity. China's consuming middle and upper middle class is more than 7 times larger than India's. This contrast is evident in the sales of passenger cars in 2022, where India sold 3.7 million cars compared to China's 26 million, more than 7 times the number. China's economically empowered middle class surpasses that of India. Despite India's rapid growth following economic reforms initiated in 1991, it still ranks in the bottom 25% of economies in terms of per capita income. Approximately 55% of India's population remains involved in agriculture-related activities. In recent years, there has been a reversal as a significant number of individuals have shifted back from urban employment to agriculture-related work, particularly in the aftermath of the pandemic. In contrast, China's consumer class is characterized by older, wealthier individuals primarily concentrated in urban areas. This demographic composition has provided China with a substantial economic advantage, positioning it as the world's second-largest consumer market. This factor cannot be overlooked by any foreign consumer goods company at present. These are key reasons why India continues to trail behind China. What are your predictions for the future progress of China and India? Share your thoughts by leaving comments below. If you find the content engaging, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to show your support. Most importantly, subscribe to our channel to stay updated and receive more fascinating videos like this one.